response if the power goes out.
An app that keeps me informed.
Tips to lower my monthly bill.
Communication on things that matter to me.
Done, 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 done.
I want to know everything.
Everything? Well, young lady, let me show you the MyMTE app. Energy Service Life. That's Middle Tennessee Electric. We're here to get done what matters most to you. Learn more at mte.com.
Rutherford Issues with Brian Barrett on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSradio.com.
Rutherford Issues is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric, their charitable foundation, Sharing Change, funded by members who round up their electric bills to the nearest dollar each month as a donation and support hundreds of local nonprofits. Find out more at sharingchange.org. Our focus today on Rutherford County Schools, and school board member Coy Young is joining us here in studio, and one of my favorite people in the world. Coy, how are you?
Good morning, Brian. Doing great. How are you?
Doing really good. We were catching up. Family's doing good. Las Casas is still as beautiful as ever.
Still living in God's country right
now. We were just kind of, I guess everybody, if you were from around here, you're talking about the growth and being on the school board. I'm sure that, I mean, it's just a constant. Where are we going to put kids? They keep coming.
It is. It's just overwhelming. You think you're making up ground, you catching up a little bit, and here you find out there's 3 or 4 more subdivisions popping up, and you got to figure out where you're going to educate those kids. So.
Yeah. You've been on the school board how long now, Coy?
This is my 12th year.
12. Wow. I didn't realize it had been 12.
I think we were around 38,000 students when I came on board, and now we're over 50,000. So it's I just never thought we'd see this kind of growth again.
And not only that, but just the buildings that we have built, the schools, and got additions going now. And you served as chairman as well, and I'm sure that has to be a tough spot to be in.
Chairman is no easy job, not for Rutherford County Schools. It's a lot of moving things out there that you got to keep up with, and it really requires a lot of extra time. If you're trying to run a small business yourself, or out here working a full-time job, and then trying to keep up with what's going on with Rutherford County Schools, it's almost an impossible task.
Yeah. Just heard some information on Tennessee Radio Network's newscast about asking state lawmakers to require substitutes to undergo some training in case there's some type of lockdown or something of that nature, and you all took that up last night, I think.
We did have some discussion on it last night, and yeah, we are looking at what we can do to improve safety. And it's sad that we're at that state in our schools, but after 2000 Columbine, it's just something that it just doesn't go away, and now it's even hitting closer to home with the event we had in Nashville, that Covenant School. So.
And school safety is obviously of utmost concern, and that's part of the reason why we're doing some additions at Oakland and Riverdale and Smyrna, and we can talk about that a little bit. But I guess this legislation, or this ask of lawmakers, is just to make sure that substitute teachers know what the process is in case there is a lockdown. Maybe it's even a fire drill. I mean, it could be anything, right?
Right, it can, and there's just a lot of things that needs to be considered there. Even with SROs on the campus, we had a gentleman speaking to us last night at our board meeting, and even with the quick response time, 2 minutes is critical. We can still lose lives with not responding within 2 minutes. So it's important that those teachers know what those signs are, what those sounds are, if the fire alarm is going off, how to respond appropriately to that fire alarm, because it may not be a fire. It could be an active shooter. So you got to know what to do in those situations. You got to think fast. And by teachers thinking fast, that really gives our kids a much more advantage as far as being safe.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, with a school system as large as we are, I mean, there's not going to be a school that a day goes by that there's not a sub in the classroom somewhere.
Yes, unfortunately, that's true too. we even have still, we're in much better shape this year than we've ever been, or have been in a long time as far as having all of our jobs filled. I think we're down to maybe 30, 40 teachers now. Last year was up over 100 teachers that we just couldn't find teachers for. We had that many spots open. So when you have those kind of gaps, you got to fill in, and a lot of times those gaps are filled in with substitute teachers.
And when you were talking about substitute teachers and the struggles that we've gone through with, having teachers, the first thing that ran through my mind was 2020 and 2021, and that had to be just the most challenging time to make decisions that impacted so many people, and it didn't matter what you did, half the people were going to be upset.
Unfortunately, I remember those times real well because I was chair during that time, and it was the most difficult thing I've ever dealt with in my life, trying to make those kind of decisions, how we keep our schools open. And that's basically what it came down to. We wanted to keep our schools open and do whatever we had to do to do that. We never wanted to force our parents or kids into doing anything they didn't want to do. And, that mask requirement thing, I hope that is gone and we'll never see it again.
Yeah.
So,
it was just really a stressful time, and there was really no case study to look at to see how someone else did it, and it was just really a remarkable time in terms of what everybody had to go through, I guess.
It was just a hardship on everyone that was involved, and I hope we've learned a lot from it, and like I said, I hope we never get in that situation ever again. I don't think we will.
Yeah. Coy Young is joining us this morning, Rutherford County School Board member for the last 12 years, and has been chairman of, so I guess you're the senior member, if I'm not wrong, right?
I am the most senior now, yeah.
You get Jim Estes out of there.
I tell you, I miss some of those old guys on there. We've been blessed. The school system has, with the leadership. I was talking to Buddy Jordan the other night, and was talking about his dad, Mr. Ed. I think he went on school board around 1972, and those guys really did a good job of building a good infrastructure here for our school systems, and we try to carry that tradition on today. It's just getting to be more and more challenging because the growth keeps coming. So
I see Will on occasion, and when I see him, I think of Mr. Ed, and of course they live just down the street from where I do, and it's just a pretty amazing servant, and it takes those type of people who are willing to give, and you're obviously one of those as well with your many years here, and you're also on some type of Plan Rutherford too, right?
Yes, I've been involved in Plan Rutherford this year. That's something they look at every 10 years. And it's good that we're doing that because we're trying to project, where we want this county to go in 25, 30 years, taking into consideration the amount of growth that we've got coming in. We were looking at some numbers yesterday, 2020, just out in the county. It's not counting the municipalities. We're at 96,115. 2045, this is the scary part. They are projecting that we will be at 229,342.
Wow.
The growth just keeps coming, and we're just not keeping up. Our needs is more than the funding allows, and we have got to really buckle down and try to figure out how we're going to fund this growth. Growth is really becoming a real concern for us because there is no funding for it.
Yeah, and that's the real sticky part, because right now it's kind of on the backs of property taxpayers, and how much more can we do?
Yeah, that's the problem, and I understand the property owners. I'm one of them that I don't like getting that tax bill every year, and it keeps going up, and I don't see that it's going to stop anytime soon. Now we just got we had a 16% tax hike this time. We're going to see more and more of that kind of tax hikes with the amount of growth that we got coming in, unless we figure out some other funding mechanism. I know we've got county leaders, state leaders that are getting involved, and they're trying to come up with some creative ways and thinking outside the box as far as generating more money besides charging it to our property owners.
Now, the numbers that you gave, roughly, that's on 3 to 4 times the growth in 25 years. And you're talking about just the county. That doesn't include Murfreesboro and Smyrna, even Eagleville. I mean, they're exploding out there.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. This is just in the county. So, we're there was one map, if I can. Here's just some numbers that we talked about yesterday. Forest and scrubland. By 2045, we're looking at 35% of that being gone. Ag and grassland, 28% of what we have right now, we'll lose. All open space. 100,000 acres of land consumed by 2045, just here in Rutherford County.
100,000?
100,000 acres.
Wow.
So those are some scary numbers. I never dreamed that we would see our Rutherford County turn into a dense population like we're turning into now. So,
well, I guess wherever there's a piece of property, someone's looking to build houses on it,
And they keep coming up with ways to develop property you never thought would be developed too, and that's alarming too.
Yeah. With that obviously adds stress on the school system, Coy, and I know that you all are embarking on a pretty aggressive rezoning, and you've done this before. You never make friends by doing that, do you?
That's the hardest part of the school board job that I didn't know anything about till I actually got on the school board. It was how hard it is to rezone. We get it. We know that people move into communities to have their kids to go to certain schools. They fit into that community. They fit into that lifestyle, and they want their kids to grow up there, and they want them to start from kindergarten all the way up through senior in high school. But when we get one school that's overpopulated, such as a Stewart's Creek Elementary that we're looking at right now, it becomes unsafe. So we have to look at ways to stop that growth, or not really stop the growth, but stop putting kids in a building that can't fit in a building. Mm-hmm. And so we're having to look at other schools that do have seats, and we're having to move anybody that moves into that area now will have to start going to Stewartsboro. Stewartsboro has some open seats, so we're going to have to bus them over there and allow them to have room to be educated in.
That is the thing about rezoning. You do it, and in 2 years you may have to do it again. I don't remember the last one, but it seems like we just went through this.
Yeah, it seems like it's just coming around more and more often. I'm even concerned with the rezoning we're doing right now. By the time we put it in play, it may be completely outdated. We may need to turn around and rezone again.
So this is projected for like 25, right?
25, 26, yeah.
Okay.
There will be maybe a few little changes for 24, 25, but nothing drastic. But the bulk of this rezoning will happen 25, 26, 26, 27.
Yeah, a lot can happen in 2 years.
In this county, yes.
Yeah. So and you're really trying to, I guess, read the tea leaves in all of that, and you don't know what construction permits are going to be issued in 6 months, and where a new subdivision may be going in that really affects the population of a school.
Yeah, I think we've got to get creative here and start thinking of ways of, once we approve so many homes in a quadrant of this county or wherever, we got to look at we've got to designate so much land to schools, or we got to start requiring developers to start saving some of their land that they're developing for schools. It's harder and harder for us to find land, and really the school board shouldn't be in the business of buying land and building schools. I mean, we're up there really to be trying to improve our school system, make sure that we're supporting our schools and keeping them up to date where they need to be as far as learning. We spend a bulk of our time out here just trying to find land and where we're going to build our next school. And we need to simplify that process, and let's get back focused on what we're here to do, educate kids.
Well, I know you've got 3 pretty good sized projects going on at Oakland and Riverdale and at Smyrna. I was at Oakland last week to do the football game, and they've got fences up everywhere and, dirt piles. And I mean, there's a lot of work going on, but it's one of those things when you're adding to an existing building and doing what you're doing there to enclose everything, it's going to be a long process. It's not like building a new school.
No, it's more difficult to add on. And I don't know that, other than the infrastructure, I don't know that the cost is that much more efficient either as far as these additions go. It takes just as long to do it, and the cost is just as expensive too. So
yeah, I mean, I know that like at Oakland and Riverdale, there's going to have to be a hallway that goes over a road, and gosh, I can only imagine that's a big expense right there. But that's the only way to keep it all enclosed. Right.
That was our concern with Oakland and Riverdale. They were the only two campuses that did not have an enclosed, that kept the kids in a building at all times. They couldn't change classes from that annex building over to the main building without being exposed to the weather. And they had an open courtyard there. It just really put our kids in a vulnerable situation that we didn't like, and we thought that needed to be addressed. Again, I mean, we're not living back in the 1990s anymore, so it's a challenge, and it's a costly challenge.
These additions are going to add a capacity of about 500 students, I think.
It will get our high schools up to where we can 2,500. Yes, it'll add about 500 students to our older schools, and these campuses was not designed for 2,500 students. When I was at Oakland in 1983, we might have had 1,200 students there. So we're more than doubling that campus now.
And when you think about that, I mean, there's not a whole lot of extra land around. So, I mean, where are you going to have parking and all that,
Yeah, it's a challenge. I know John Marshall and I have had some discussions. He would like to, improve and enhance his ag program out there. He wants to build a barn. He wants to do the things that our community is expecting out of him as far as offering programs that our parents and our students would like to see come in. And it's just getting tighter and tighter to find room to do stuff like that.
Well, it happens every time when you come in. There's so much to get to, and I wanted to talk about CTE, and we're just running out of time. But, I mean, that's something that I'm excited to see, and I think a lot of the school board is too, the growth in those areas.
Oh, yeah. To me, that's the lifesaver of our school system is CTE, being able to offer programs to these students and offer so many different options. To me, that's where the rubber hits the road. If we really offer programs that really involves these students, they learn more, they want to stay in school. The graduation rate's higher. It's just a good way to educate our kids.
Yeah, help them find their passion, and something that can follow them, and really great paying jobs coming right out of high school.
Oh yeah, you can get into these apprenticeship programs, and these companies, a lot of them are paying for the training, and they'll put you to work. You're making money while you're being trained on the job. So. Mm-hmm.
Well, Coy, it's always good to catch up. I appreciate you coming in. Thanks for your many years of service to Rutherford County Schools and to our community, and come by anytime. I always love to catch up.
Well, thank you for the invitation, and I appreciate what you guys do here at WGNS for our community. That's
Coy Young joining us, Rutherford County School Board member, right here on Rutherford Issues. By the way, check the podcast if you want to listen back to our conversation from this morning.
Hello friends, Lenny Farmer with Jennings & Ayers Funeral Home. More than I can count, we have taken care of families who were totally caught off guard with the passing of